I don't even know how to begin this episode because reading some of the things y'all sent me, I'm flabbergasted. I'm also concerned. I'm deeply concerned, A, who's making these hiring decisions, and B, are y'all okay? Like truly, is everyone doing all right? Listen, I love a toxic coworker story. I really do. I think they add a little bit of spice, but there is a level of cuckoo crazy work drama where you're like, okay, yeah, this is tolerable. This makes for good lunchtime talk with the girls. And then it crosses the line. And it's like, okay, no, I need to vacate the premises. I need to leave. I can no longer work here. I know what you might be thinking. Girl, I just hung out with you on Sunday. I didn't realize you and I had scheduled plans on Wednesday. Oh, bestie. We did. Did you not get the Google invite? Because the Straight Shooter Recruiter podcast is now posting 2 episodes a week. We've got Sundays, which nothing's really going to change. It's still going to be those fantastic, short, information-heavy episodes, really just designed to help you kick your week off right with like a new bit of information, new bit of perspective, all focused on your career and helping you just level up. Now, Wednesday is the middle of the work week. You might be feeling a little agitated. You might be feeling ready for the weekend. It is truly the pick-me-up you need to get your booty through hump day. That is what this episode is for. This is called What Would Emily Do? This is where you take out all of the trials and the tribulations of your work week into the link down below where you're sending me your questions, your stories, and you and I are talking about it. I'm going to tell you exclusively what I would do, how I would handle this situation. We're going to chit chat. We're going to crowdsource people's opinions. This is literally our exclusive time to hang out. Just you and me. It's very FaceTime energy, very FaceTime vibes, making sure your specific questions and needs are addressed. So you don't got to Google it, right? It's just you and me. Plus, as always, you're going to have a little pep talk, a little love. And my goal is for you to walk away feeling so confident, so supported, like you got this. Because honestly, babe, you do. And that's exactly the vibe we're trying to give off right now. Now, it just wouldn't feel right for me to do this series without starting off with talking about one of the most common things and common questions I get in my DMs, which is, dear Emily, what would you do if you had the most toxic coworker at the most toxic workplace? And that's what we're going to dive into today. We're going to talk about your whack-ass coworkers, some of the stories you have, some of the specific questions you have, and just general advice on how to navigate it. And we are going to laugh a little, right? We're going to have to just sit here and gossip. Gossip makes the world go round just a little bit. So that's what we're going to do. Grab your coffee or something stronger if it's after hours and that's your vibe. I'm personally comfy. I've got my ice water in my big old tumbler. I've got your questions ready to go. And friendly reminder, like two little thingy things. If you want your question answered, click the link in the description of this episode so you can send it in. You can do that either in voicemail or in writing. And please, I beg of you, take the 30 seconds. Go leave a rating and a review for this show or share on socials that you are listening. It means the world to me. It is how this show grows. And all I want to do is keep giving you content, giving you support. And the way that I can do that is if you interact with the show. So please do that. So every single week, I'm posting a question of the week over on my Instagram at Emily the Recruiter. So I can just get a sense of what your thoughts are because I have my own ideas of how I would handle situations, but I'm just curious, like, are we all on the same page? And the answer is no, because the question of this week was, if you have a toxic coworker, what do you typically do? So the options, I'll tell you the options first, what I think, and then what you voted on. So the options were, I would confront them, I would say nothing, but I would go home and cry, I would tell my boss or human resources, or I would simply quit. Now, my personal thoughts were, I'm going to do nothing and cry because historically, that's typically what I've done. Unless it was so bad that I was like, okay, I need to escalate this to somebody and it was getting serious. For the most part, I just ignored it and like created boundaries for myself. However, you are a very bold bunch, and I love you for that because 43% of you said you'd confront them. 43% is a lot. Thousands of people took this little survey. I'm like, this is bananas to me. 23% of you said you'd do nothing. I'm in that 23%. 20% said you would tell your boss or HR, and 14% said that you would just quit. Here's the thing. I think it really depends on what kind of toxic person you are working with. Because if you're working with the classic office mean girl, I think ignoring them and icing them out ultimately is going to get you so much further because insecure people like that only act a certain way when they no longer have access to power. And they act that way to try and, make you see them on a pedestal. And the second you look at them with eyes like, girl, I really don't care what you're up to, they shrink and they lose all of that kind of magic. If you are dealing with someone who is micromanaging and is impacting the way that you work, yeah, that's a little different. We'll like dive into all of that stuff. My only word of caution is the 43% of you who want to confront them, be careful how you do that, because people who are toxic don't think like you and I. They're not thinking logically. They're not the kind of people who are rationalizing their behavior, obviously, because you and I don't do the crazy stuff. A kukuluku person, a person who's a little off their rocker, if you go up to them and say, hey, Susie, when you do this, it makes me feel like this. Can we adjust? They're going to say, you're confronting me. You are trying to impact my workplace wellness, and I'm going to escalate this to the highest authorities in human resources. They're going to do that, and they're going to tell everyone that you attacked them and that you make their life hard. And then suddenly it's you in HR's office and not them. You really need to gauge what kind of cuckoo am I working with. If it is like the cuckoo banuku where they are clearly trying to ruin your life, do not confront that person. Don't. They're going to use it against you. They're going to try to make your life way harder than it has to be. We'll get into that in a second. But if you are someone who is like, okay, great, that post inspired me to go confront someone, girl, you better stop. You have to stop. You can't, because it gets you in a very dangerous position. I think when you're dealing with toxic or very difficult coworkers, the first thing you have to do is assume best intention. You really do, because if you go into every situation and assume that that person is trying to ruin your life, you're going to walk into situations with your backup and you're already going to have that energy emulating. And if they really are a good person, you're going to ruin that relationship, because it could just be a miscommunication. Or if they actually are toxic, they're going to use that. And like I said before, they're going to try to ruin your life with that energy you're giving. Assume everybody is doing the best they can with what they have. That is a really important mindset to adopt. And if you operate with empathy, which is so much easier said than done, it's going to change your life. I'm going to tell you a quick little story. I used to work at a very large organization, and when I first started there was a group of people who were very cool, like objectively cool. First of all, they were so hot. It was a group of girls. They were gorgeous, like bitches. They were beautiful. They dressed so well. They had been at the company for so long. Everyone knew them. Everyone loved them. And I was like, damn, I want to be friends with these people. Not because I wanted to be in the cool crowd, but because there weren't a lot of like people my age working at this company. And you could tell they were like the it girls. So I went up to them. I said, hi. They totally iced me out. They totally ignored me. And it made me feel awful. And then it was when I talked to my mom. It was probably a month or two after I started. And I was like, what's wrong with me? Like, why don't these people want to be my friends? Like, this is so upsetting, blah, blah, blah. My mom is like, really confident people don't act like that. So why are you giving them this much credit? And I was like, damn. That is truly like the root. If you listen to my content, you know I'm a big believer in confident people don't need you to see them on a pedestal. Confident people don't speak ill of others. Like, it's just not necessary because they're so secure in themselves. And the second I realized that the girls who were acting this way were actually insecure, I stopped being envious and I stopped being hurt and I started feeling bad for them. Damn. And you know how powerful that was? Because suddenly them walking by and telling, hey, Susie, hey, Marie, do you guys want to go get lunch right in front of me and not inviting me? I didn't care, because I was like, girl, first of all, I don't want to be friends with people like that. And it helped me center myself in that situation. But it also made me realize if you act like this, you are so not happy with who you are. And I'm happy with who I am, girl. So it couldn't be me. And it just gave me a lot of peace. Empathy and best intent really helps. But again, it really depends on the kind of toxic person you're working with. If this is the kind of person who's taking credit for your work, who's micromanaging you, that's different, because that's someone who's sabotaging. That's not just someone who's difficult and is like a little high school. Because the biggest myth in the world is that the worst drama you'll ever have in your life is in high school. No, the worst drama you will ever have in your life is in the office. So if it's someone who's straight up sabotaging you, you need to work very smart. Whoa, did you hear my stomach rumbling? You need to work very, very hard at covering your ass with everything. CYA, cover your ass. If they ask for things, get it in writing. Even if they walk by and they're like, oh, Emily, can you do this for me? Say yeah, and then send them a message and be like, hey, just want to make sure I've documented everything. Is this ask accurate? Because those toxic people are going to come back, and when you submit your work, they're going to say, oh, this is wrong. You clearly don't understand, or they're going to make you look like an idiot. Get every single thing in writing. When they say negative things to you, write it down, timestamp it. I don't care if that's crazy, because guess what's going to happen? People like that thrive off of drama. They're going to keep poking your buttons, taking credit for your work, doing all of these things. And when you bring it up, they're going to gaslight you and tell you that that's not what's happening. That's not my perception. Oh, that's not what's going on. I'm sorry you feel that way. And that's crazy. When you have data to back it up, girl, the information is there. The information is there. Keep it all in writing. What I would say is, if you're dealing with office cool girls, it's high school vibes, ignore it, do not engage, move on. Ask yourself, why do I let people like this make me feel insecure when they are so insecure? If it's someone sabotaging your work, document everything. my recommendation is to go to your boss or go to human resources and ask, hey, this is what I'm going through. How would you advise I navigate this situation? Don't go in guns blazing and be like, Susie's blah, 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 blah. Like, no. That's not helping anybody. What you do is you go in, you say, I'm struggling. Here's the situation. How would you advise? Let them step up and act their pay. Act their pay. Why are you doing things above your pay grade? This is your boss's job to navigate. Let your boss handle it. Tell them what's going on. Ask how they should navigate it. And then if shit hits the fan, you have your boss telling you that this was the plan of attack, that this was the game plan. So there's nothing that falls on you. It eliminates you from risk entirely. This is my favorite time. It's time to hear from you. Here are your stories, your questions. We're going to talk about it. And remember, if you want to gossip a little, chit chat a little, ask for some advice, you can always do that with the links in the description. Dear Emily, at my previous company, I sought career progression and transitioned from an internal recruiter to a role with more HR responsibilities while pursuing a level 5 CIPD. Amazing. However, my new manager who handled payroll was very hostile towards me. She questioned my work from home days and tried to deny my paternity leave. Oh my God. Upon returning from paternity leave, I was abruptly moved to sit next to her, and my manager changed without notice. An incident occurred where she yelled at me for taking a confidential HR call in a meeting room. Despite her apology, her antagonistic behavior continued. During a university event I organized with little notice, she made sexist comments about my work. When confronted, she denied these comments despite witnesses. Oh my God. The final straw was a meeting with my manager and the assistant finance director, which felt like a targeted attack. I was criticized for organizing a CEO networking event during working hours and faced numerous baseless accusations. Following this, I received a warning letter from external HR disregarding my defense and witnesses. Ultimately, the hostile environment and constant scrutiny led me to find a new role as a talent and resourcing lead for a government organization, which has been a positive career move. Okay, amazing. I recently learned from former colleagues that the company culture has deteriorated even further, with a lot of people seeking new jobs for themselves. This experience taught me that poor management shouldn't define your career, and there are employers who actually value their employees. First of all, facts. There are companies who actually will treat you well and will treat you with respect. And when I say people leave bad managers, like, this is what I mean. You can enjoy the work, but if your manager is off your rocker, also making sexist comments to you, speaking ill of you, clearly like orchestrating meetings and things to take you down when you are just doing your job is bananas to me. I think you did the right thing. Honestly, if they were antagonizing you, almost denying your paternity leave, by the way, in most countries is illegal. What do you mean you're going to deny my paternity leave? You have legal right to that. All of that, honestly, if it were me, yes, obviously, like, leave the job, you did the right thing. I would be keeping documentation. I would report them. Like, I would have reported them to like HR. I would have reported them to like your workers tribunal based on where you live. Sometimes you can get compensation for suing companies. I'm not going to lie to you. Not that I think that's something everyone wants to do. Like, I personally haven't done it, but denying your paternity leave, especially, and making sexist comments, especially, is very, very inappropriate. Like, you 1,000% did the right thing. What baffles me is that your HR team literally heard some of the things your manager said to you and then still was like, you know what you shouldn't have done? Organize that networking event. Are you kidding me? Dear Emily, I work in the construction industry. When I started at my previous employer, my colleague took a month's time off, so I had to jumpstart and cover for her. It was a new forte for me, and I had just started as well. In one of the team's check-in meetings, my boss told me to put in more hours if I wasn't able to do both of my duties and my colleague's duties. He also took the liberty to say that he puts in 60 hours a week when he was my age. There are so many other instances where my boss used to gaslight me. My mom was visiting me from India, and I took a Friday work from home so I could take her to Lake Tahoe and spend the weekend there. Later on, when I had a review with my manager, he was like, "Did you really work that day when you worked from home?" It was unbelievable how toxic that company culture was. Oh my God, people are crazy. Like, that's just not, I don't understand. This is even beyond the scope of like work. You're actually just a mean person. First of all, you said was, so it sounds like you left. Thank God. I'm so happy that you did. What kills me is when people are like, hey, I'm handing you an unreasonable amount of work. You need to work 80 hours a week to get this done. How is your inability to manage capacity my problem? How is this under-resourced team my problem? Okay, great. You worked 60 hours a week back in the day. Wonderful. That doesn't mean that I want to do the same. I shouldn't have to double my hours of work in order to be seen as a high-performing employee. I shouldn't have to put in extra hours to complete the bare minimum. The expectation shouldn't be that my life goes on hold for the shareholders, for shareholder value. And I get it. Sometimes we all have to work overtime. I worked a lot of overtime early in my career. Yes, there is an element of the whole like put your time in, that is true. But the expectation shouldn't be you should work 60 hours a week. And if it is, good, put that in my offer letter, impact my salary accordingly. But if you want me to make the same amount of money working 40 hours that I will be working 60 hours, you're off your ass. Hi, Emily. I love your podcast and helped me land my current job that I am extremely happy at. So big hug to you. Thank you, friend. I'm so happy for you. Okay, my toxic ex-coworker, let's call him Cal, who I somehow managed to work with for 3 painful years, would always take credit for my work. One time, my manager thanked him in a department meeting for something that I did because Cal was telling everyone it was his idea and he did it himself. He was such a brown noser and would kiss up to the department manager and she would eat it up. He would always make excuses about why work wasn't done, but his story would always change, and I've called him out on that many times. I complained to my direct manager many times about him, and finally, Cal, myself, and my direct manager ended up having a meeting with HR to address our issues. While Cal stated that I was condescending, which is true because I did have to deal with his shit for 3 years, my list of issues went on and on. After I read out each issue, my direct manager would ask me, anything else? And I kept going. Anyways, the meeting changed nothing. He kept slacking off and making excuses. The day came where Cal put in his notice and I was over the moon. But plot twist, something happened at my toxic workplace that was the final straw for me and I ended up quitting a week later. Damn, I really want to know what that final straw was. Okay, here's the thing. This is why I kind of am apprehensive to tell people, yeah, go to your manager right away, go to your boss right away. Because typically a good manager and a good HR team already sees the toxic stuff. They shouldn't be completely, especially your manager shouldn't be completely oblivious to how people around you are working. Like your manager should know you did that. Like why doesn't your manager see that what Cal was doing was inappropriate? Do you know what I mean? If your manager was decent, your manager would say, no, Susie was working on that, not Cal, and they would advocate for you. For me, that's already a red flag. Like, what do you mean you have no idea about the work that I'm doing as my manager? You should be not even allowing me to be in that position. The reason I'm so big on like documentation and sometimes just like handling things with ourselves is people who allow you to stay in toxic situations either are so stupid they don't see it or they don't care. And I don't know where your boss fell into this, but clearly they were oblivious or decided to turn a blind eye. And I don't like that one bit. I don't like that your boss let you be put in that position to have those conversations with HR. Like, why didn't your boss have your back and talk to Cal for you and have your back generally? Honestly, for me, the kind of toxic coworker that drives me the craziest, like truly grinds my gears, gets under my skin, is the person who either micromanages me or takes credit for my work. Oh, girl. I do not like that because to me, that's calculated. I can almost write off when someone makes mistakes or like any of that stuff. You clearly have to go out of your way. You know you're lying. I hate people who are dishonest with bad intention. People make mistakes. That's not a mistake. You made a decision. You leaving was one of the best things you've ever done. Your boss told you everything you needed to know about them by how they responded to that situation. And if you're listening and you're in a tricky position with a coworker or whoever it might be, and you're going to your boss, ask yourself, is my boss paying attention to the work I do? Do they advocate for me? Do they want to see me succeed? Are they going to be objective and tell me where I can improve and how the other individual can improve? If not, sometimes it's best to keep it to yourself because your boss clearly had no intention of resolving the issue. Otherwise, there would have been an action plan and they wouldn't have thrown you in a meeting room together. Like, what? Dear Emily, I had a coworker who was in a very senior role. He would constantly explode on us, like explode, cuss at us, raise his voice, belittle us for any small mistakes. Then the next day, try to talk to us like nothing ever happened and act like he didn't say any of those things to us. We would be super frustrated by this. We basically had to walk on eggshells around him. This led us to not reach out to him for help when we needed it, and we just Googled everything, which made him even more mad that we wouldn't ask him for help. In a weird way, this made our small team closer since we all had a common enemy and we always helped each other so we wouldn't get chewed out by him. Oh my God. Okay, so this listener sent in a backstory as well, and obviously I won't share it. It's like respect privacy, and if you ever submit questions, I'll always respect your privacy. What really upsets me about situations like this is people do nothing. And the moral of the story is sometimes when we talk to our bosses in HR, they don't do shit. If you have a coworker, a senior person yelling at you for making a mistake. Like I can only imagine you maybe sending a typo in an email and they're yelling at you, or an event slightly went wrong and they're like cussing at you. There is never a situation where it is appropriate for you to raise your voice and cuss at someone at work. Let me take that back. There's never really a situation ever, period, unless you're on reality TV, where it's appropriate to raise your voice and cuss at someone at work. I also feel like if this individual has a partner and a family life, if this is how they act at work when they know they could be fired, how do they act behind closed doors? Like that's actually that's a very scary thought to me, but that's someone else's podcast, but that just came to my mind right now and I had to say it. I don't know if you're still at this company. I'm hoping that you're not. And if you are, I hope this individual is not working there anymore. If they are, get everyone on your team to write this shit down. Write this stuff down. Go to your human resources team and say, here it is. It sounds like your HR, and it all goes back to what I always say. A good team, a good HR team, and a good management team already knows this shit because they have their ear to the ground. They know. If they don't know, they're bad at it. And if they know and don't do anything, they're bad at it as well. So I don't know what it is in this situation. Maybe they don't know. Maybe you're a remote company. Like, I don't know. All I'm saying is I would get every single person on that team to go. I would get them to write down everything that happened, take it to HR, give it a month. If nothing changes, you sue. Sorry. Or you file a complaint with whatever governing body you're at based on where you live. There's like the, different workers unions or workers organizations, essentially. I would highly recommend doing that. It is never okay. What kills me too is when people come in, they lose their shit and they come in the next day and they're like, good to see you. That's a sign of someone not being in good form. Like that's not an individual who's in a position right now to be working and leading a team. It is so damaging for your mental health. I'm happy your team is leaning on each other and is supporting each other, but you shouldn't have to stay in that situation. I don't want you staying in that situation, and I want you to get paid. So take it from me. If they're not going to help you resolve the situation, document it, file a complaint, get paid out. Period. For the first time ever, are you ready to hear your beautiful, gorgeous voices on this show? Let's listen to some of your voicemails.
I'm working as a customer success manager on a senior level. So my manager, he's messaging me after office hours. He wants some update after office hours. So how I'm going to, tackle that?
Thank you so much for sending your voicemail. If you are a manager, this is for you. Stop bothering your employees after hours. And just because you work overtime doesn't mean they have to. Thanks for coming. Okay, here's exactly what we're going to do. First of all, I want to validate how you're feeling, your frustration. That's valid. It's not okay. And I know that you know that, but sometimes we feel guilt like, okay, if this is their norm, maybe I should work this way. No, that's not what we're doing. You are validated in knowing this is not okay. You are validated in knowing your work-life balance is important. So I want to make sure you understand you are not doing anything wrong by not wanting to work after hours. That is normal. That is healthy. Corporate America, the corporate world has brainwashed us into thinking we need to act a certain way and work a certain number of hours to be worthy, to be good at our jobs. No. That's BS. That's corporate BS. I'm over it. I'm done with that. So first of all, you are 100% validated. Here's what I'm going to do. You have two options, and it really depends on your industry and your manager. In my personal opinion, route number one, you have a sit down, honest talk with your manager, and you say, hi, I've been really enjoying XYZ work. I've noticed some of the requests that are coming through are after hours. And because I have commitments after work, I'm likely not going to be able to get those responses in until working hours the next day. So I just wanted to check in. What is your ideal situation in terms of my working hours? What do those expectations look like? Most likely, if they are a good manager, they're going to say, oh my gosh, no, I don't expect you to respond after hours. Those are just the hours that work best for me. That's best case scenario. And then it's on you to turn off your laptop, turn off your phone. Don't do it again until the next day. Don't look at your phone. If they're like, yeah, well, I work after hours, I expect you to be online as well. You have two options. You can accept that, and that's your life now. Not the life I personally want, but sometimes that's what we have to do. Or you say, okay, are you comfortable with me continuing to work our standard 9 to 5? The reason I ask that is it's really important for me to make time for my family and some of my extracurriculars. Done. If they say no, I'm not comfortable with that, they're showing you they don't value you. They're showing you they're okay with being very, very toxic. That's very unhealthy. You don't want to work there anyways. The other option, if you don't want to have that conversation, and this is a hard one and it's risky, you just stop. You stop responding. And the next day, you don't even apologize. You say, absolutely, saw your email. I'm online now. Here's the update. You should not be at the beck and call of individuals after hours. That's not fair. That's not ethical. By the way, you're not paid for that. So unless you're paid for that, we're not doing it. We don't work for free. So you have two options. You have a conversation and it might not go the way that you want. And it means you either accept it or you start looking for another job, or you just take it upon yourself to stop working after hours, knowing that maybe they'll be receptive, maybe they'll bring it up. But at the end of the day, even if your boss brings it up, what are they going to do? They're going to tell you you're not working after hours? And that's where you say, yes, I have commitments. It's important for me to balance my life. They don't have a leg to stand on by saying, hey, you're not working overtime. Because if they're not paying you to work overtime, you shouldn't be, period. So good luck. Send me an update. I hope it goes okay. That was really fun. I think the moral of the story is when it comes to toxic people at work, you either have to create boundaries for yourself so that it doesn't affect you, or boundaries so that you're not overworked, or you need to have difficult conversations. The challenge is in corporate worlds, sometimes those conversations aren't met with what we hope they are. Our managers don't support us how we want. Our HR teams don't support us how we want, which is why it's so important for us to take the emotion out of the situation, try to control the controllables, and then have the conversations and hope that they support us, but have a backup plan in case they don't, whether that's looking for a new job, increasing your boundaries, or just telling people, here's what you're not going to do, bitch. You are not going to take credit for my work. Absolute ball hanging out with you. I hope you did too. And I'm so excited for next Wednesday's episode. Don't forget to check out my Instagram so you can get involved with the polls, send in your questions, all of that good stuff. I am so excited. So thank you. And I will talk to you on Sunday. Mwah.